This episode has been brought to you by FlowState, the unlimited Webflow development service. Find out more at flowstate.dev. Hello and welcome to another episode of Webflow and Code, where I teach you the underlying code you're writing in Webflow. This one is a bit of a weird one. I haven't written a script. I'm just going to be discussing an idea that I've had over the last few weeks about accessibility and rethinking what it is to make a website accessible. I was always taught when it comes to making a website more accessible, we need to give guidance through something called ARIA. This is ARIA's website, and this is their documentation for creating a modal, and you've got this modal that opens and closes here. And then down here, you've got the HTML markup where you can see you've got ARIA roles added, and obviously the JavaScript and whatever, how to make that work. So instead of trying to recreate what a interactive mouse user will need to do on a website to navigate it, why not provide a tailored experience to those using a keyboard? A more direct example would be Jupyter in the Draft's website. And I have a bit of code on there, which I'll link to actually, because this could be the crux of all this actually. When I detect that someone is using a keyboard, they're using tabs or arrows or things like that, I apply a class to the body of the website. You've got a mouse user when they're using the mouse, but as soon as they start using the keyboard user, you use the mouse again, you're back to a mouse user. So with that in mind, let's take, for example, the side nav. Now, a mouse user will navigate their mouse to the top left of the screen, click the menu, and then go to the menu item that they need. Now, you might approach this situation thinking, right, I need to let accessibility users know that there's a modal or something that's popped up, and that I need to restrict navigation, or I need to restrict tab movement to that thing. And that's a hell of a lot of work. Birds. That's a hell of a lot of work from a coding perspective. But also, it's a hell of a lot of work from a keyboard user who doesn't need to click that button. The moment I detect that there's tabbing going on and they move through the page, as soon as they get to that area, I just pop it open, and then when they get out of it, it just disappears. And it's just that over and over again. So it's utilizing the fact that one, they're a keyboard user, and two, I don't need to make them do any sort of interactions or animations. With that foundation in mind, you could apply this to many, many different things. Take a slider, for instance. Arguably, if a slider is really long, you're trying to condense information into a short space of time. However, it's worth noting that why render that slider differently if you're detecting a keyboard user? Why not just cancel the JavaScript sliding altogether, list all of the items in that slider as a list, and give it an appropriate section heading, and someone might, with a keyboard, enter that area if they feel like they need to, because oftentimes a keyboard user will navigate a page using the headings, and then they will go into them and then understand the content. So having a good clear heading, let's take a testimonial slider, good clear heading on testimonials, they can just skip that whole entire section. So you've given them the ability to enter that section, read every testimonial as they should, but without the added burden of clicking a left or right button and then saying page 1 of 2, page 2 of 2, or something like this. Similar to a mobile first website, kind of as you design it, you're rethinking the experience based on a mobile user. Rethinking the experience based on a keyboard user. And it doesn't need to be a massive overhead like a mobile first website does, but it's just questioning whether if keyboard interaction is removing or burdening someone who is just navigating the website with a keyboard. So I think it's worth investigating how keyboard users or accessibility users actually use your website, understanding where you're placing a burden on them by trying to recreate JavaScript animations or JavaScript interactions, and providing a more streamlined experience given the fact that they are just simply tabbing through your website, first of all via headings, next of all, well, by the sheer fact that they're using the tab button. That's my idea. It's something I've been thinking about for a little while. I hope it makes sense. Let me know what you think, because truth be told, whilst I care deeply about accessibility and I try my absolute hardest, I've only been placed with one major task of making a website accessible, and it didn't include much user experience. It was purely a technical accessibility process or exercise. If you have deeper knowledge on how users use websites, or whether you yourself have tried implementing or replicating JavaScript interactions with a keyboard user by using ARIA, let me know if this makes sense, because I've not heard anyone ever talk about rethinking the accessibility experience in a similar way that we rethink the mobile experience. Quite excited to hear your thoughts on this one, so do let me know. Quite excited to hear if I'm a dummy and I've just missed something completely, but it's something I've been pondering a little while. With that, starting to use Twitter a bit more, so go find me on @FakeSamGregory on Twitter. I have a Webflow and code community there, which I'm trying to grow instead of my Discord community. Like, subscribe, all the rest of it, and until next time, happy no coding.